So this is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Now. This is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network with this breaking news. We are in California because California now has the highest taxes throughout the galaxy at 62% for the rich. If you make more than $5 million a year, you will pay 62% of your money to the government.
Hallelujah.
So if you rob them the rich to give to the poor, we're asking some of the local thieves and the best cat burglars out there. Catwoman, what do you think about this? The government taking 62% of the rich's money. How will that affect you when you rob them the rich and give to the poor?
I think it's absolutely great because they're still going to have a hell of a lot of money left, so they'll have way more than they need. And I'm sure they have some like hidden away here and there and wherever in Swiss bank accounts, so I'm sure it'll still be okay. And I think it's a good thing though, seriously, because they don't need to just be sitting on it. I mean, honestly. Give it up. Give it up. I want to buy some guns.
Now here in Los Angeles, there's at least 2 basketball players that live in Colorado for 6 months in one day simply because they don't want to pay 62% of their money in income tax. What do you think? Will you have to move out of Gotham City to other states? You know, because they're just not staying here in the city?
Well, I don't know, because I don't really think that I'd rather leave Gotham City to live in Colorado just to save a few bucks since you're making so much anyway. It's like, come on, really? Are you that motherfucking greedy that you have to move to another state just so you could get a break on your taxes? Come on, you make a lot of money. You make more than the average person. It's not like you're actually making minimum wage. So seriously? I think it's pretty lame of them to do that, but it's typical, of course, because people who have a lot of money are usually the greediest ones. They're like, oh my God, I got to hold on to it. And you know what? Actually, they better, because if they suck at their game, then they might not get their contract renewed, and then they might be nice and poor, and then they might be walking the street here in Gotham City and
living in a cave like that.
Yeah, that's right. So maybe they better sit on that money. So they're probably the ones worried about not having renewed contracts. Any good players don't have to worry about where they live because they're always making lots of money, getting lots of endorsements, and pretty much probably don't even feel it when they have to give up more in taxes. Well, you're making that much, you know what I'm saying? Seriously.
Well, what do you think would be a fair number? If you make more than $5 million a year, what would be a fair number for someone to pay in taxes? Because in France, people are leaving. The former prime minister and president of France and famous actors are moving to other countries because they don't want to pay 75% in taxes. And here in California, we're paying 62%. So when do you think our politicians will actually leave, you know, the state or leave the country and go somewhere else? Because even our own politicians or politicians around the world are leaving the area because they don't want. What do you think about that?
I think it's ridiculous, but it's typical because if you're a politician, you're already making way too much money for just pretty much lying to people. So I guess it would only make sense that you would do something like leave, not to pay taxes, you know, because they're always being found guilty of doing something illegal here, pocketing some money there, you know, getting paid off by somebody for their signature on something. So with politicians, it doesn't surprise me one bit. They'll do anything corrupt.
Now, in this country, America, the average person makes about $35,000 a year, and then these millionaires are making about $5 million. What do you think would be a fair rate for someone making $35,000? You know, what percentage should you take? And then if you make $5 million a year, what percent? Because everyone says tax rich, but no one gives a number. What do you think would be a fair number for those two people?
I think the increase for people making over $5 million is really good. I think they should bring it down to something that's would let people making a little amount of money more comfortable, at least with day-to-day living. I mean, when people have to make a decision whether they're putting gas in their car or what they're going to have for dinner, then it's kind of sad. And I know a lot of people who do work hard and have regular jobs have to make these kind of decisions, like, you know, where the money's going to go. So I think that they could bring it down a little bit for people who make less. And, you know, like I said, tax the hell out of the rich people. Why not?
So lower the 35 people and increase.
Yeah, I mean, you know, slightly or whatever, so that they're not so struggling for day to day, like having to make choices of like, okay, like, you know, I mean, they can't afford to take vacations, they can't afford to travel, they can't afford lots of things that, you know, or they have to scrimp and save way too much. Do you know what I'm saying? So it would just be fair to lower it a little bit so they could, you know, be comfortable, you know, and then yeah, tax the rich, tax them.
Even if it drives them away and they go to another countries, that won't be a problem?
Good, leave. Then if you don't want to do what you're supposed to do, then get the hell out of here, because you probably stole that money anyway, or did something corrupt to earn it. So in that case, we don't need you here anyway.
Okay. So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say to the folks?
Yay, go buy some guns. Woohoo!
So in closing, this is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network signing out. Okay, that's about the same way.